What's up, everybody? This is just Bree. Making another video. I don't know. I'm just like in a mood or something. I'm trying to figure out how to use these apps so that I can be creative, but I can't figure this shit out. It's frustrating, but I wish I had somebody to show me. But I'm gonna go over just one more video of the rat. The truth about, what is this? The truth about beautiful single mothers and why betas can't be stepdads. Okay. And action.
I'm fine. I'm happy. I'm dating. My life is good. I'm tired.
Wait a minute.
But I would be.
I want to start this over because I need to.
She does videos on YouTube.
Okay, here we go.
The real talk. What is it? Real talk with Yanni. Okay, and she was just on Instagram, right? And she was posting about single mothers. So I put into the comment section, I enjoy being a single mom. I still handle my business.
Okay, I just real quick. She said I enjoy being a single mom. That's kind of sounding kind of selfish to me. It's always about I with her. I enjoy being a single mom, yada yada yada. Because she is too narcissistic or too egotistical to say, you know, it's not the best situation for my son. I wish he had a father, or what have you, or just not promoting it like she just so, overjoyed because she's a single mom. Like, she always gotta, it's like she gotta rebut the so-called stereotype. But whatever. Carry on.
Kids are well taken care of. I'm fine. I'm happy. I'm dating. My life is good. I'm tired, but I would be tired if I was, I didn't have kids because I still would be out here chasing my goals and accomplishments. And I'm not sitting here with a broken family simply because some broken man decided to walk away from helping me raise my son. You understand? It seems to me like people want single mothers to no longer have a life or sit around and be miserable because some man left them. No,
See, there we go again. It's all about her being single and miserable, yada, yada, yada. Nothing about the child. It's not about Justice having his father there with him. It's not about I chose the wrong man, so now my son's got to suffer for not having his father in his life. I'm so high value, but yet I don't have I don't need a husband, a polyamorous, all this stuff about her. Yeah. So 1 minute she want to be married, 1 minute she don't. I'm sure if somebody actually proposed to her, unlike the last 8 times, that she would say yes. I know people that have gotten married that have had infants, and their husband raised their children. But she is, as much as she tries to put herself up there, she's really not. Otherwise, if she was a real wifey, she would have been wifed up a long time ago.
for everybody to understand something, okay? Especially other people who are pushing a narrative that, a woman loses their value when they have children by someone. No, listen to me. When a man walks away from a relationship, that's one thing. It's okay. People break up all the time. People get divorced. But when a man walks away from his children, there is something wrong with him. It has nothing to do with...
Yeah, something wrong with him, and there's something wrong with you because you chose him, and now you want to hold his feet to the fire because, um, you chose to move away across the country, and whose fault is that? That's not his fault. You chose to have a baby with him. You should have stayed your ass in Georgia so his son could have a father.
The woman. And a lot of times society will try to get us to internalize why men have abandoned us with children. When they walk away, they will do that for them. It has nothing to do with the woman that they're with. Because if they really had some type of
Ma'am, you only get abandoned for the most part if you are a married woman. He made no promises to you. He did not promise to love you until death do you part. Okay? You picked up and you moved away, you dingbat.
their own judgment, and the woman that they was dating was just so horrible, why would they feel comfortable with leaving their children with this woman? Think about this. You got men out here who say so many negative things about the mothers of their children, right? Have you ever sat and thought, why do they feel comfortable with leaving their children with these women if, in fact, all single mothers are like terrible women to be with or terrible women in general, right? Stop trying to get single mothers to internalize when men abandon them with children. That's number one. Number two, someone just asked me in the Real Talk with Yanni in her Instagram, okay? They asked me, will men still want to marry a single mother? Because men want to build generational wealth, and it's hard for a person to build generational wealth alone. And I'm thinking to myself, building generational wealth, number one, is not some complicated thing. All you have to do is get the financial knowledge and the stability and pass it on down to your children. How hard is that? How hard is that? My child support payments, I get $264 a month. You know what I do with my child support payments? Go buy my son some stock. It's that simple. It's not complicated. I teach him from the second he's born about money. My daughter is 20 years old. My daughter has.
Did this mongoose say she teach him about money from the time he was born? So you teaching a newborn about money? Yeah. Okay. And you own a house? Because as far as I know, they found out you were renting. So stop acting like you got all this education, girl.
A full-time job and runs her own business at 20. So passing down generational wealth has nothing to do with whether my baby daddy decided whether he wanted to stick around or not. Okay? That's number one. Number two, yes, if you're a single mom, you can still get married. Now, here's the thing. Being with a single mother is one of those things that you got to be really strong to do. Okay? Really strong. Because, number one, it takes a lot for you to put aside the selfishness that a lot of people have in order for you to take care of somebody that's not your blood. Now, think about this. You got.
Now this dingbat saying the same thing that Kevin Samuels basically saying in a roundabout way. She just don't want to admit that, a man is right. She wants to take the credit for what somebody else said. And something that's obvious. Girl, bye.
People that's your blood in your family right now that you don't fuck with. We all got that. You got somebody that's your blood that you don't even want to be around them. Okay, so why is it so hard to fathom that you could love somebody that's not your blood? Why is that so difficult? Especially a child. Like, especially a child. I hear men say, I don't want to take care of somebody else's child.
Okay, let me address that real quick as far as loving somebody that's not your child. That's not the point, Soncerae dope. The point that Kevin Samuels is making is when you have a parent who is that you share custody with, okay, you don't know if that parent is crazy. Um, you know, you don't, and at the end of the day, do you want to deal with somebody who might be disrespectful to your spouse, you have to go out there and fight because her baby daddy didn't cuss you out, or yada yada, all this drama. Okay, and that's the main point of him saying that people don't want to connect with women that got children or whatever. And just for the record, dear, let's be clear. And like he also stated, Kevin Samuels, was when it comes down to discipline, are you willing to allow your husband to be able to fully discipline your child? That's where another part that gets tricky, okay? Do you understand? Do you comprehend, girl?
When you love a woman, you love everything about her. You understand? You even love the extension of her. Now, there's some men out there who are like, yo, I love this woman, but I don't love her badass kids. Her kids are bad. Well, you should have thought about that before you dated a woman who couldn't control her children. Like, a good mother is a good mother is a good
Bimbo, that's why you don't get involved in the first place. Hello?
mother. A lot of times when you're dealing with a woman who is good, usually her children behave well because she's a good parent. She's good at parenting. Why would you want to have children with someone who's bad at parenting? Listen,
That's
dating a
not the
single mother,
point.
you'll find out what kind of mother you'll be dealing with if you decide
That's
to
not
have
the
children
point,
with
you
this
dodo
woman.
bird.
You're not going to find that out with
With
the
your
woman who
titties
doesn't
hanging
have
out.
children already. You're just taking a risk. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying you can't have the preference of dating a woman who doesn't have children. You can do that. That's your preference. It's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to date Dusties with low income. I
There
don't
she
want
go
to
with
date men who
Dusty.
don't have residual income. I don't want to date men who don't have a bank account. I don't want to date men who don't have who walking around here with a Boost Mobile flip phone. I don't want to date anybody that's dealing dope. I mean, I got preferences too. It's okay. But what I'm not going to do is not encourage another woman to date who she wants to date. And that's my problem with men who don't want to date single mothers. Usually it's men who don't have children already. They feel like if they get in a marriage with a woman who has children already, they're with a woman who has depreciated in value. No. Like, I mean, are you kidding me? Like, listen, when you're a husband, what you need to factor.
Ma'am, it has nothing to do with depreciating in value. Everything to do with what I said 5 minutes ago. For example, is the reason why when my mother married her husband, before I was a toddler, by the time I was about 1 year old, they decided, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, they decided that my biological father wasn't going to be a part of my life, which turned out to be a good thing in all actuality. And that was a choice that they made. And it had nothing to do with her value, but because, he just wasn't my biological father, wasn't a man of honor. And, same thing for one of my cousins. My aunt married her husband and did the same thing with her son, and her husband took over like nothing ever happened, like he was the biological father. So, girl, it's men out here that's gonna do that, will do that, okay? Be clear.
Is how your wife treats you. Can she deal with the household when you're not around? Is she a good parent? Does she take good care of her physical appearance? Does she eat right? Those are the things that you need to think about. And if she's a good parent, she would be a good, parent. That means she would be able to parent your children. But like I said, if you don't want to.
She's talking about eating right, and she clearly at least 50 pounds overweight, but okay.
Date single mothers, that's fine. That doesn't mean you got to try to convince everybody else to have your same preference. I don't like mustard. I don't like mayo. I love mustard. Right? But I'm not going to sit here and convince you guys to not eat mustard. Just don't eat it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna sit down and go on to this campaign.
So you could come on here and comment and say how you feel, but other people can't. Is that what you're saying? Because that sounds like what you're saying, which really don't make sense.
Listen, I'm gonna need for you guys to not eat mustard ever. You can't build generational wealth with mayo. Sorry, I can't get mustard and mayo confused. Anyway, I love mustard. But the point is, whether that was a bad analogy or not, it's, the point I'm trying to make is, come on, y'all. Like, men, listen, there's some beautiful women out here. And I mean from the inside out. And they have children. They might have
One
two
children.
children. What I do encourage men not to do is date
Girl.
women who have multiple baby daddies. Like, if you see a pattern in a person, I don't care who it is. If you see a negative pattern in a person that is telling you that maybe this person doesn't know how to end relationships or doesn't know how to keep a relationship, then don't be with them. Usually women who are,
You have multiple baby daddies. Two is more than one, and that's multiple. So, girl, shut up.
walking around here collecting baby daddies, they're just as bad as men who walk around here collecting baby mamas. It's the same thing. So, listen, if you don't want to date a single mom, don't date a single mom, but don't try to convince us that we are any less desirable, we don't deserve love, or a man should.
Girl, shut up, because who cares? Nobody's in the real world. We get wiped up all the time. Single moms get wiped up all the time. I have no trouble dating. I'm a single mom. I had no trouble getting a date. Okay. I have no trouble with somebody wanting to commit to me. But that's a whole another story.
Marry us or some garbage like that. Like, come on, man. Y'all gotta be smarter than that. Like, I have no problem attracting men. I'm sorry, men just like me. I have a 20-year-old and I have a 2-year-old. Ever since I was pregnant, even when I was pregnant, men were there for me, okay? Men was out here trying to holler.
And what's the likelihood of, I mean, my mother and my aunt, there's exceptions, granted. But a doctor, successful doctor, wanting to deal with a woman and her toddler, that's not his. Yeah, okay, Soncerae.
They did not care. They were like, oh, that man done left you sitting up there pregnant, girl. I got you. Okay. I will step in a heartbeat. Like, this man don't even understand. Listen, Lord. It's okay to have a preference. That's all I need y'all to understand. It's okay to have a preference, but you don't have to be hateful towards what you won't date. It's the same thing with race. Like, you hear how people be like, well, I don't date white people, or I don't date black people, or I don't date whatever. Okay, don't wear a sign on your forehead that says, I don't date X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to try to convince everybody else to not do it. No, no. I could see if it was something like serial killers. You don't date serial killers. So what you're trying to do is make sure nobody else dates serial killers, right? That makes sense.
Why would you have to make sure nobody else dates a serial killer? Unless they're you. Okay? You're the one that chose to date a married man and live in a truck with him. You.
You know what I'm saying? All that other shit y'all doing don't make sense. Don't encourage people to date someone who will hurt them. And don't encourage people to.
How the hell do you know who's going to hurt you and who's not? It's called life and you take chances. Girl, where do you get your information?
Not date what you won't date simply because you won't date it. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry. I'm a single mother. My life hasn't stopped. I work just as hard as I would if I didn't have any children because I have.
You know what? I'm going to end this video because I can't take it. I got a headache. She keeps going on bragging about being a single mom, yada yada. She works just as hard. Okay, so here's the point that Kevin Samuels was trying to make. But of course, again, we listen with our mouth and not our ears. But God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Okay? So we should do more listening than talking. The point Kevin Samuels was making when he asked a woman, when you are looking for a husband or a man, when you get this man and you decide to have children, you decide to get pregnant, do you want to have to work and pay substantial bills after you have your baby? Okay? Now, one woman said, oh, yeah, sure. I want to go back to work after 12 weeks. Yeah, throw my baby in daycare. Or, somebody will watch him. I got a family member to watch him. Now, is that really the point of motherhood? I mean, yeah, some things sound like it's old in value, but it's still, technically, it's the right thing. But it doesn't make you less of a woman or less of a person, because you rather stay home with your babies and raise your own kids. You talking about you working, okay, and supposing you miss a milestone, supposing, I'm sure you done missed a milestone or two of your son, okay, and that's the point. If you want to work part-time, if I was in a situation and I had a husband, my ideal situation would be that I could work if I wanted to. If I didn't want to, then no, I don't want to work. And I think for the most part, 99%, 90% of those women that call say that they'd rather raise their children and not necessarily have to go to work. Okay? I don't know if you consider working from home the same thing, but there's nothing wrong with staying home and taking care of your house and the kids and your man. But you want to be so anti-family just because you don't have one and you didn't grow up with one, that you want to dismiss the value of a man in a home because you chose to move 1,000 miles away from your child's father and expecting him to run behind your silly ass. But my point is, again, if you had the situation where you could stay home and not have to work, would you do it? That's the point. From a woman, as a woman. And you just don't seem to get that. You just want to insist that your way is the right way and that, this single mother thing is great. And and, I'm so happy and this and that. It's not about you, bitch. It's not about you. How about that? Okay. And on that note, I am sick and tired of this heifer for now. Bye, y'all.